Hello, mighty companion. This is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you. I want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. I want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. And do you need a healing in any area of your life? Because the Course in Miracles defines sickness as any form of lack of peace, not just physical illness, but any form, anything that's causing you a lack of peace. The Course in Miracles calls that sickness. So our topic is going to be sickness and healing. So let's focus in on that. And before we get deep into it, I'm going to play a little music by Brother John Christmas at johnchristmas.com to allow us to get centered, because it's important that we take a breath and we get centered. So here we go. I'm so happy to be here with you. Here we go. And while we're listening to this, I want to ask you to just relax and breathe.
Teach only love. That is what you are. Only love. Yes, that is what you are. Teach only love. Love is what you are. And teach only love. Everywhere we go, teach only love. To everyone you know, teach only love. Love is what you are. Hey, yeah, let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. Let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. Teach only love. Each and every day, teach only love. In each special way, teach only love. Love is what you are.
So good to be with you, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy. And the topic is going to be, in the Hardcore Course in Miracles, the topic is going to be sickness and healing. So what does the Course in Miracles have to say about sickness? Where does it come from? What's the purpose of it? How do you really bring about a healing? And to me, wow, that's a really, really, really important subject for us to focus in on. No, just a second. We're going to talk about sickness and healing. If you are in the Course in Miracles Blue Book, we're going to be on lesson 136. Lesson 136 in a Course in Miracles workbook. The Course in Miracles is 3 books in one. There's a text, there's a workbook, and there's a manual for teachers. And we're going to be on lesson 136, page 257 in the workbook. Page 257, lesson 136. Sickness is a defense against the truth. 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 Do you know? Sickness is a defense against the truth. Sickness is a defense. Sickness is a plan against the truth. Sickness is a plan against the truth. Sickness is a defense against the truth. Let yourself hear that. Regardless of your reaction to it, breathe and listen. Sickness is a defense against the truth. Are you ready to go deep? I'm ready to go deep. I'm so glad to be with you, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles you may actively resist. Some of the ideas from A Course in Miracles you will find hard to believe. And some of the ideas may really startle you. You are not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Did you hear what the Course in Miracles says? I got this right from the Course in Miracles book. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all or analyze the ideas at all. So how do you know that the ideas that I'm about to share from A Course in Miracles are true? Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. In my 43 years of studying and teaching A Course in Miracles, the one thing that I've learned that's most important is to follow the instructions that the Course in Miracles itself gives for how to study A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles repeatedly says, remember. So you listen, you hear, and remember what it's saying, and you do what it says. If you will listen, really hear, and do what the Course in Miracles instructs consistently, then you will see that the ideas are true, that miracles are true. Listen, hear, do. Listen, not analyze. Listen, hear, and do. One of the other things that A Course in Miracles says over and over again is, read me slowly. It constantly says that. Remember, don't forget, read slowly, and just do what it's asking you to do. Sometimes, after I finish doing A Course in Miracles class, sometimes people will ask me, I heard what you said, but what do I do? And that's hilarious to me because I make a point of constantly emphasizing the instructions that the Course in Miracles is giving you and me. I constantly focus on the practical application of it. So the entire class, the entire presentation is telling you exactly what to do to get the healing that you want. That's why it's hilarious when someone says, but what do you do? Okay? So we're going to do one of the most powerful lessons in the Course in Miracles, which is the lesson on sickness. Lesson 136, sickness is a defense against the truth. Sickness is a defense against the truth. That is on page 257 in the workbook. So I'm going to take this slow. So I would like for you to think of a physical healing you may think you want to have, or a healing in any area of your life. Because when I do the Course in Miracles, because I have done this full time for almost 40 years and have been studying it 43, is I bring in my entire experience and the entire teachings of the Course into my presentations. So when I go through it, I am looking at the overall teaching of the Course. Like, do you want to heal? I teach in a question and answer format. Do you want to heal? Do you have the situation that you want to have healed? Do you have the physical condition that you think you would like healed? Or also think of this in terms of someone you know that may have sickness that needs to be healed. Are you aware that the Course in Miracles defines sickness as non-right-mindedness? You are spirit. You are not becoming spirit. You are not becoming spirit. You are already spirit. You are a spirit having a human experience, expressing yourself through a physical body. You are a spiritual being doing what? Having what you think of as a human experience, seeing yourself as a separate human being in a physical body. But you are not. Do you know you are not a physical body? So let's look at the very first line. What is the very first line? No one can heal, and I'm going to do this in plain language. No one can heal. I'll put it this way. Let's make it personal. You cannot heal unless you understand what? You cannot heal unless you understand the purpose sickness seems to serve. So you are not going to heal in the situation that you need a healing in until you understand the purpose that sickness, that problem, that lack, whatever it is, seems to serve. The Course says, for then, if you understand the purpose of sickness, then you will understand that its purpose has no meaning. That means being causeless. What does it mean when it says being causeless? It means without a meaningful intent. Sickness cannot be at all without a meaningful intent. When you see that there's no purpose, there is no reason for the sickness or the lack or the pain, when this is seen, what happens? Healing is automatic. So the Course in Miracles is saying to you that you can have automatic healing. I like that. Automatic healing. So the Course in Miracles calls sickness a meaningless illusion. It's a meaningless false idea. It dispels this meaningless illusion by the same approach that carries all sickness, all meaningless illusions to the truth. So you want to learn how to do what? You are going to learn how to leave all sickness behind. You're going to learn how to leave all perceptions of lack, unhappiness, grievances behind so that they can disappear. So we are about to learn how to get sickness to disappear. Any type of form of lack of peace to disappear. Is that a worthwhile goal? I think it is. So take a breath. So what is the first thing you need to understand about that situation or that sickness? You need to understand that sickness is not an accident. Being sick is not an accident. Being broke is not an accident. Being angry is not an accident. Being depressed is not an accident. Sickness is not an accident. It's a plan. The Course in Miracles defines defenses as plans we make. So when it says like all defenses, you could say like all plans. Sickness is what kind of a device? Sickness is an insane device for self-deception. So sickness is a way for you to deceive yourself about what you are. Sickness is a defense against the truth. It's something to make you think you are not an unlimited spirit. Like all the rest, what is the purpose of sickness? What is the purpose of this sickness? The Course in Miracles says its purpose is to hide reality. So the purpose of sickness is to hide reality. What is another name in the Course in Miracles for reality? Another term for reality in A Course in Miracles is truth. So you could say the purpose of sickness is to hide the truth, attack the truth. The purpose of sickness is to change the truth. The purpose of sickness is to render the truth inept, distort the truth, twist the truth. The purpose of sickness is to reduce the truth to a little pile of unassembled parts. In other words, the aim of all sickness, and the sickness, all forms of sickness, all forms of unhappiness, the aim of all defenses is to do what? The purpose of the sickness is to keep the truth from being true. Is to keep the truth from being whole. We appear to be parts of God, but it looks like each one of us are whole within ourselves. Now let me give you a tip as a teacher and student of the Course for over 4 decades. Do not stop and try to analyze what I am saying from A Course in Miracles. Your first responsibility is to let yourself hear what it's saying. Okay? Just let yourself hear what the Course is saying. So what is the Course saying? Whenever you're studying the Course and let's say you're baffled or you're confused, do not stop and try to analyze what you just heard or read. You continue to move forward in reading and studying it because the Course in Miracles anticipates that you will not necessarily accept and understand what it's saying. That's why I told you some of it was going to be hard to believe and quite startling. So if you will just continue to read, it's going to tell you again what it's saying. Defenses, which are sicknesses, are not unintentional. So let's say you have a bad headache. That's what the Course would call a defense against the truth. It's a trick to make you think you're not a being that is whole, complete, and healthy and happy. Because you got a headache, right? So getting that headache or whatever it is that's bothering you, that's not unintentional. Defenses, which that's what sickness is, a defense. They're not made without awareness. So why does a person get sick? Why do they create some type of pain or suffering for themselves? Well, because getting sick is the Course calls it a secret magic wand you wave when truth appears to threaten what you believe. So when you are studying this truth, which is very different from what we have learned, and what's the basic truth? The basic truth is you are the creator of your experience, and everything that you experience is coming from your own mind, your own consciousness, your own creative powers. That's what the truth is telling us. The Course in Miracles is telling us constantly, you are not a victim of the world you see. You are not a victim of that relationship that you're in. You're not a victim of your race. You're not a victim of your gender. You're not a victim of your childhood. You're not a victim. You are not a victim. That's what the Course is. You are a creator. You are not a victim. You are a powerful creator. So the Course in Miracles says, so when you're listening to the truth, that a part of you becomes threatened by it. And so the mind, the person, creates some type of sickness or illness or lack to prove that the truth that they're studying is not actually the truth. It says it right here. Defenses, which are sickness, defenses are secret magic wands you wave when truth appears to threaten what you would believe. Now, your sickness or your pain that you're going through right now seems to be unconscious. It doesn't look like what you're going through right now was intentional. It doesn't look like your sickness was created by you or that problem was created by you. The reason why it looks like you didn't have anything to do with the sickness or the pain or the unhappiness is because of the rapidity with which you choose to use the defense, the sickness. In that second, even less, in which the choice to get sick is made, you recognize exactly what you would attempt to do, and then you proceed to think it's done. Now, we could spend a whole hour on that one paragraph, but I just want you to hear what it just said. Defenses, which is any form of sickness or lack of pain, whatever that situation or circumstance that you're going through, or whatever situation or circumstance that someone that you know is going through, that situation, circumstance, sickness was not unintentional. The Course says when you become threatened by what the truth is teaching you, then there's a part of you that makes the decision to prove that you're not all-powerful, that you are not God-like, that you are not divine, and you make the decision to get sick. You make the decision to give yourself some situation or circumstance that makes you think that you couldn't be this powerful, loving being that A Course in Miracles is telling you that you are. That one paragraph just defined where sickness or lack or pain comes from. I'll say it again. Did you hear what the Course in Miracles says? When the truth is threatening you, when a new way of thinking and believing is threatening your old way of thinking and believing, you create something that makes it look like the new way of thinking and believing is not true. So if you're hearing that you're an unlimited, all-powerful, divine God being, which is what the Course in Miracles is teaching that you are, well then you make the decision to get sick so that it'll seem like you really are the weak, frail human being that we are being taught that we are. I'll say it again. Sickness is a defense against the truth. It's a plan we lay as soon as what we are studying begins to threaten what we already believe. So if you're sick or you have pain or lack in any area of your life right now, the reason why you're having that pain or lack is because there's a part of you that is threatened by the truth that you are a powerful and unlimited spirit, and it's using your body to prove through the pain or suffering that you're going through in sickness that you couldn't possibly be the child of God. You couldn't possibly be a divine being. Who but yourself evaluates a threat? Who but yourself decides escape is necessary? Who but yourself sets up a series of defenses to reduce the threat that has been judged as real? Who is it but you that sets up a series of sicknesses and problems to reduce the threat? What threat? The threat to your old programming, the threat to your old belief system. Who is it that sets up a series of defenses and plans to reduce the threat that's been judged as real? You can't do this all unconsciously. So you are a being that creates your reality through your thoughts. There's a part of you that doesn't want to believe that you are an unlimited being that creates your reality through your thoughts. And so that part of you, called the ego, makes a decision to give yourself some type of weakness or problem or sickness so that the truth can go away. This stuff that you're learning can be proved to be not true, so you'll stop using it. You don't do that unconsciously. But afterwards, now this is the reason why a person doesn't remember making their own sickness. Because after they make the decision to create their sickness because they feel threatened by the truth, then the plan requires that you must forget you made the plan. Part of the plan to prove that you are not the unlimited child of God is for you to give yourself some type of problem or sickness. But also part of your plan is to forget that you're the one that makes the sickness or the lack or the problem that you have, so that it can look like it seems to be something external to your intent, so that it looks like the sickness is or the unhappiness or the lack or whatever the problem is. It can seem like it's a happening beyond, the Course says, a happening beyond your state of mind. In other words, that something that's happening to you that's not coming from your state of mind. Everything that happens to you comes from your state of mind. Everything that happens to a person comes from their state of mind. Remember when I said you may hear some ideas that you actively resist? How many of you are feeling some active resistance right now? Check the way that you're feeling right now. But remember, the Course in Miracles said that some of the ideas you would have active resistance and find hard to believe. But just because something is hard to believe, just because you resist something, just because something startles you, that does not mean that it is not true. Okay, because you may not believe what the Course in Miracles is saying does not, I repeat, does not mean that what the Course in Miracles is saying is not true. This is deep stuff. That's why I call it hardcore Course in Miracles, okay? So that's why I like you to follow along with me. I'm in lesson 136, Sickness is a Defense Against the Truth, in the Course in Miracles workbook. So if you keep reading, you'll notice in the next paragraph, it answers the question as to, well, why is it that it looks like your sickness is beyond your own control? Why does it seem like, for instance, if a person has a migraine, it seems to be beyond their control? Why is it that it looks like the situation seems to be beyond your control? Well, it answers that in the next paragraph. The Course in Miracles says, it is this quick forgetting of the part you play. It's you forgetting the part you play in making your reality that makes the defense seem to be beyond your own control. So what is it that keeps something beyond a person's control? What keeps the situation or the sickness or the circumstance beyond your control, what keeps it looking like you can't control it, is you forget the part you play in making it. As long as you don't believe you are making the sickness, then you will not be able to control the sickness. As long as you think that sickness or lack or anything that's happening to you is being caused by things outside of yourself, outside of your state of mind, you will not be able to control it. So if you want to be able to control sickness, if you want to be able to control lack or anger or guilt, then you must, at some point in your spiritual development, You must take 100% responsibility for what you are experiencing. As long as you forget the part you play in making your reality, that will make the sickness or the upset seem to be beyond your own control. So why is it that you haven't been able to get rid of that situation or circumstance that's causing you pain and suffering? As long as you don't think you're the one that's creating it, then you will not be able to control it. As long as you think you're not the one that's creating it or making your perception, you will not be able to control it. There's the answer right there. But what is the good news? Well, the good news is what you have forgot, that you're the one that made that pain, that sickness, that unhappiness, that situation that you're going through. You can remember that it is a decision of your mind. You can remember that you are the creator of your experience. You can remember that there was a part of you that made the decision to get sick, and that part of you that made the decision to get sick or to have that problem is also the part of you that decided to forget that you made that decision. So the reason why you have a sickness that you cannot get rid of is because you don't remember that you were the one that created it and made it through your state of mind. So you can remember that you are not the victim of whatever it is you're going through right now. And it says in the second part of the sentence, but what you have forgot can be remembered. So you can remember this given willingness to reconsider the decision. So what is it that Jesus of the Course in Miracles is asking you to do right now? Jesus of the Course in Miracles is asking you to reconsider your decision to be sick. Reconsider your decision to be in lack. Reconsider your decision not to have love. Reconsider your decision. Reconsider your decision, which is doubly shielded by oblivion. Do you know you're not remembering that you're the one that makes your own happiness and unhappiness, that you're the one that makes your own sickness or your own unhappiness? Do you realize that not remembering or refusing to entertain the idea that you're the creator of every single thing that happens to you, you're not remembering that, and your unwillingness, a person's unwillingness to remember that is a sign that the decision to keep the sickness or the unhappiness still remains in force as far as your desires are concerned. So what did we just hear? A person who fights the idea that they are the creator of their perception and the creator of their experience, that's a person who has made the decision to continue to experience the sickness or the problem or the lack. So how can you tell when a person wants to keep on going through whatever they're going through that's causing their pain? The way that you can tell that the person wants to continue to keep going through the sickness or whatever's causing their pain is that they are not willing to move in the direction of entertaining the idea that they are going through that problem because they are the one that created it and decided to have that sickness or that problem. Don't mistake this for fact. That you are a victim is not a fact. That is not true. That you are in any situation that cannot be changed for the better is not the truth. You are God. You are a divine being. You were created by God. You were created by the Creator. You were created by the unlimited Creator. You were created by God. You were created by God. You were created by love and power and truth. You create through your thoughts, your consciousness, your feelings, and your emotions. They create your perceived reality and whatever it is that you are experiencing. When the truth threatens you, then there's a part of you called the ego that tries to prove that you are a victim. that everything that I have said to you isn't true. So then the person's mind makes the decision to create the sickness or the lack, but you also made the decision to forget that you made the decision. Sort of like when the hypnotist tells a subject that I want you to hop around in a circle as soon as I touch your ear. And you will forget that I told you this. Then he tells the subject, when I snap my finger, you're going to forget that I told you to hop around, right? You accepted the hypnotist's instructions, but you forgot that you decided to do that. So when the hypnotist touches your ear and all of a sudden you hop around in a circle, it looked like if that wasn't your decision, but it was your decision. You went along with the hypnotist, but you also went along with the idea of forgetting. That's what the Course in Miracles is saying to us. We are the creators of our experience, but we make decisions to forget that we are the creator of our experience. And so we blame others for that experience. And we see ourselves as a victim of external situations and circumstances. But when you're tired of that, when you are tired of that, when you're finally ready to be healed and whole, when you're ready to be truly happy, then you have to remember that you are the one that's creating and making your experience. If you argue with that, or if that's something you don't want to believe, then the Course in Miracles just said, then you're not remembering is but the sign that the decision still remains in force as far as your desires are concerned. Defenses must make facts unrecognizable. The fact is you cannot be hurt. The fact is you are a spiritual being who cannot be hurt, and you are not a body that suffers in pain. But it looks like the defense, it looks like the sickness, it looks like the problem makes the fact that you are a divine unlimited being unrecognizable. That's the purpose of a defense. That's the purpose of lack, is to make your abundance unrecognizable. That's the purpose of fear, is to make love unrecognizable. That's the purpose of guilt, is to make your innocence and your sinlessness unrecognizable. That's the purpose of attack, to make your peace unrecognizable. That's what the purpose is of sickness, is to make your health, your true health, unrecognizable. Defenses aim at doing this, and that's exactly what they do. That's why I tell people over and over again, you've got to listen to this over and over again, because it's the opposite of what the world teaches you. And since this is the opposite of what the world teaches you, then as soon as you get through listening to this, you're prone to forget it, because there's nothing on TV and in the news that's telling you exactly what the Course in Miracles is saying, right? Okay, so let's go to the next paragraph. Do you know that every defense, every sickness takes fragments of the whole, assembles fragments of the whole without regard to their true relationships? In other words, sickness constructs illusions of a whole that's not there. Creating things that's not there, convincing yourself of stuff that's not the truth. The Course in Miracles says it's this process that imposes threat and not whatever outcome may result. In other words, it's not about the migraine headache that the person might have. What the person wants to get in touch with is what causes migraine headaches. It's not so much you got a relationship that's in crisis as to get in touch with what causes your relationship to be in crisis. It's not so much that now you feel like you can't hardly pay your bills, if that's the problem, but to get in touch with what is the cause? What is the cause? What is the purpose of me being in a situation where I think I'm in lack and can't pay my bills? What is the cause of my sense of separation from God? What is the cause of me thinking that I'm a body that's a victim in the world? When we are like parts that's been wrested from the whole, so we look like we are separate and we look like we are wholes within ourselves. So really, in a sense, we become symbols standing for attack on the whole, which is oneness. It looks like we've been successful in being separate, and it looks like we've been successful in never to be seen as whole or one again. So there's something that we've forgotten. The Course in Miracles says there's something you have forgotten. There's something you have forgotten. What is it that you have forgotten? What is it that you have forgotten? That being seen as separate and believing that we're separate and believing that we are different aspects and not the same. What we are experiencing, the Course says, is our own decision for what should be real to take the place of what is real. So you're looking at what you believe is real in your life right now, and if it's not based in love and oneness and joy and peace and healing and health, then you are looking at what you decided to experience as real to take the place of what is real. So if you are feeling fear and anxiety and sickness and separation and lack, and it seems real to you, it's a reflection of your decision for what should be real to you. And so if fear is real to you, then that fear is there by your choice, and that fear is there by your decision to take the place of what is real, which is love. Love is the only thing that's real. Love is the only thing that's real. Healing is the only thing that's real. Health is the only thing that's real. Peace is the only thing that's real. Spirit is the only thing that's real. God is the only thing that's real. And everything else that a person experiences beside that is a reflection of their decision for what should be real for them, for themselves. So your life is a reflection of your decision of what should be real and true for you. And whatever you're going through right now, if it's any kind of sickness, any kind of pain, you are experiencing that according to the Course, which you don't have to believe. You are experiencing that because something threatened you. Something about the truth threatened your way of believing and thinking. And so there's a part of you that's trying to prove that the truth that you're learning is not true. So you made the decision to get sick or to have whatever lack or problem that you have, but you also made the decision to forget that you made the decision. Because if you forget that you made the decision to create the lack or the sickness or the problem, then it can look like it's being created by something outside of yourself, through another person, through an external situation, through a circumstance, through something outside of you. But if you're ready to let that sickness go, if you're ready to let that pain go, if you're ready to let that problem go, then what do? Well, you remember that you are the one that made the decision, that you are the creator of your experience, that you are not the victim of the world you see. You remember that you are as God created you. You remember that you are a spiritual being. You remember that everything comes from the mind, and that everything that's happening to you is coming from your mind, that everything that's going on in your life is coming from your thinking. Your relationships are coming from your thinking. Your financial situation is coming from your thinking. Your spiritual situation is coming from your thinking. Your sickness is coming from your thinking. It's coming from your mind. It's coming from your consciousness. And if a person isn't ready to accept that it's true, then that means they still are willing to continue to go through that condition. That's what the Course in Miracles says. So what is sickness? So when you say sickness, sickness is non-right-mindedness. Sickness is anything that's causing you to not have peace and joy. So sickness isn't just a physical illness. It can be a financial lack or a mental lack or perceptual, anything that's causing you to forget that you are an unlimited, beautiful child of God that should be experiencing only happiness and joy. Anything that's keeping you from knowing that is something that your mind created, and then your mind made the decision that you wouldn't remember that you were creating it, so that it can look like you're the victim of something or someone outside of yourself. So sickness is what? It says in the next line, sickness is a decision. What? Sickness is a choice. Sickness is a decision. Unhappiness is a decision. Anger is a decision. Depression is a decision. Lack is a decision. Loneliness is a decision. Sickness is a decision. So what does that mean when the Course in Miracles says sickness is a decision? Well, in the very next line, what does it say? It is not a thing that happens to you, quite unsought, which makes you weak and brings you suffering. So sickness doesn't come to a person and creates sickness and suffering unless the person at some level decided to have that experience. Everything that you perceive is, and how you perceive and how you experience your life is a result of the decisions you are making. So sickness is a choice. What is sickness? Sickness is a choice. Sickness is a choice. Lack is a choice. Lack is a choice. Boredom is a choice. Unhappiness is a choice. Separation is a choice. Anger is a choice. Attack is a choice. Everything is a choice. Sickness is a choice you make. Do you know that sickness is a plan you lay? So when does our ego, when does that part of our mind that feels threatened use some type of sickness and suffering to prove that we can't be happy all the time the way that the Course promises? Well, the instant truth arises in your own deluded mind. Whenever the truth arises in a person's deluded mind, then, and it looks like all your world is appearing to totter and fall. In other words, I've been taught to believe I'm separate. I've been taught to believe I'm a body. I've been taught to believe I'm Earl Purdy. I've been taught to believe I'm a victim. I've been taught to believe that things are happening to me that don't have anything to do with me. It's because of my father, my childhood, my mother, my girlfriend, my sisters, my brothers, my job, the political environment. In other words, I'm going through everything that I'm going through because of these forces outside of myself that I have no control over. I have been taught to believe that about myself, and you've been taught to believe that about yourself your entire life. Then the Course in Miracles comes along, and Any Truth book comes along, and it tells you that you're responsible for what you see, that you choose the feelings you experience, that you decide upon the goal you would achieve, that everything that seems to happen to you, you ask for, and you receive it as you have asked. Well, if you've been used to seeing yourself as a body that's a human being that's frail and could die and could be affected by the outer, with that part of you that has that old programming, then it looks like its whole world is beginning to fall. And so what happens? Well, the Course says, well, what you do is you try to come up with something to make you believe that what you're being taught by the truth is not true. The truth is telling you you're sinless, that you're guiltless, that you're unconditionally loved, and that you are going to be happy no matter what, that you are an eternal being. Well, all of that sounds crazy to the part of you and the part of me that perhaps has been taught that we are just these temporary people, that we're just temporary bodies. So that part of you that becomes threatened by the truth, then it comes up with a plan to prove that you are frail, that you are a victim, that you really can't be happy, or that you really don't deserve to be happy. And it uses sickness, which the Course calls some form of lack of peace, so that you can be right about the programming that you have already gotten. And the next sentence says, now are you sick? Now are you unhappy? Now are you suffering? That this truth that you're studying from A Course in Miracles may go away and threaten your establishments no more. See, don't you see that if you've been taught by the world and you believe that you're a body and that you believe that you're separate, that everything that the Course in Miracles and the truth tells you seems threatening? You know, it's telling me that I'm not a victim, that it's not somebody else's fault what I'm going through right now. Then I've got to accept that I'm a more powerful being than I think I am, that I may be something more than I've been taught that I am. Well, that threatens my whole world. Because my whole world is built up around the idea that I'm a separate being on my own, not connected to everything and everybody. And I got to make it. I got to make it out here. And I have to be afraid of the things that might happen to me. I got to be really careful. And here's something that's telling me that, you know, that everything is love and that there's safety and oneness behind everything, and that I have an unlimited creator and guide called the Holy Spirit and Jesus of the Course. It's everything that the Course in Miracles or the truth teachings are teaching me are the opposite to what I've been taught by the world to believe. So I built my whole world around the idea that I'm separate. You built your whole world around the idea that you're separate. And this book is saying, and any truth book is saying, you're not separate, that you are God, that you are one, that you're innocent, that you're loved. So the part of you that thinks that's a bunch of crap is going to try to prove to you that nothing that you're studying is true, and it uses sickness to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right. It'll tell you that you're not a good enough guitar player. That'll prove that you couldn't be the genius, the unlimited being that the Course teaches you that you are, that you couldn't be as talented as you're being told you are if you're a failure at being a good guitar player. That's what the Course in Miracles is trying to get us to see, that every time that the truth tells you something that's opposite to what you believe, then you create a situation to prove that God is wrong, that the Holy Spirit is wrong, that what this book is saying is wrong. So sickness is a choice, it's a decision. And as long as you are not willing to begin to entertain the idea that you are the creator of what you're going through, then you're going to keep on going through that sickness or that pain or that lack. There is no advantage. There's absolutely no advantage, no matter how much you think it is. There is no advantage in seeing yourself as a victim of the world, or seeing yourself as a victim of your childhood, or seeing yourself as a victim of your partner, or your mate, or your boss, or your race, or your gender. There is no advantage in not seeing yourself as the creator of your experience. And the more that you're willing to receive and accept this and let this in, then that is what produces the healing, because now you're changing the belief by making the decision that you are no longer going to go along with your own unconscious conditioning and decision to make yourself sick or unhappy in some way. Okay, I am going to review what I've covered so far, because like I said, I'm not going to rush through this. I'm going to go through this entire lesson, and I'd like to ask you, those who are serious, sincere students of A Course in Miracles, and that's why I'm doing hardcore Course in Miracles on Thursday for Course in Miracles students primarily, even though anybody's welcome to watch, is because I really want to be helpful to people who are giving attention and study to A Course in Miracles. I want to take my 43 years of working with this material and teaching this material to be especially helpful to devoted Course in Miracles students. Because that you want the support of someone who has been working on this and loves this as much as you do. Okay, there are pseudo Course in Miracles students, which are Course in Miracles students who never really read it or study it or apply the workbook lessons, but they do receive wonderful benefit through hearing it. And then there are Course in Miracles students who were like me, who knew when they got into the Course in Miracles it was their spiritual path and it was the way that God was reaching them, and they really want to master it. I'm a full-time teacher of A Course in Miracles. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, all you have to do is go to my website, or you can use Venmo, the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. My website is www.earlpurdy.com. I'm also available for one-on-one coaching and showing you how to use these principles and truth principles and Course in Miracles principles to alleviate and heal any situation in your life that you're having a real challenge and you want to let that situation be healed. Okay, I call those clarity sessions. If you are really ready to do the work and go deeper so that you can have that happiness and peace and healing that you want, I'm available for a one-on-one called a clarity session. Go to my website, www.earlpurdy, P-U-R-D-Y, earlpurdy.com, and you can self-book a clarity session from my website and get more details about my clarity sessions. I'm also an astrologer and a numerologist, and so I can also be helpful for people who are open-minded in that way, because the Course teaches that everything that we've learned can be used by the Holy Spirit to help wake us up and heal us. So don't judge what anybody believes in or what they do, would be my advice. On Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do another Facebook Live presentation on A Course in Miracles on the Earl Purdy page, on Facebook. 1 p.m. Mountain Time on Sundays. You can also attend that class in person if you are in the Denver, Colorado area. It's in Denver at 1555 Race Street, 1555 Race Street, R-A-C-E. You're welcome to come in person, or you can watch it online. Thursday nights, I do hardcore Course in Miracles, especially for Course in Miracles students who are actively studying the course, and anybody's welcome to watch it. But I want to be especially helpful to Course in Miracles students, because you all are awesome. And I have experienced so many miracles through doing this material that it would sound weird if I told you. You probably wouldn't even believe all the miracles that I've been blessed with, and people that I've worked with, and people that I know are devoted students of the course have experienced. You're on the right path. The Course in Miracles is absolutely fantastic, but there also is a part of you that will try to fight the teachings of the Course in Miracles tooth and nail, and you need to be aware of that. And the Course in Miracles calls that part of you, that part of your mind, the ego, okay? So I'm available. All of my classes I upload to YouTube, and they're also on my website, and also here on Facebook. So regardless of your financial situation, you can avail yourself of these teachings and my videos. If you want to do deeper work, then that's what my clarity sessions are for. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it. Oh yeah, if you want to make the financial expression of appreciation, all you need is my email address, and my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com is my email address. And if you'd like to be added to my contact list so I can let you know when I'm doing workshops or in-depth personal classes that you'd like to be a part of, then shoot me an email and I'll add you to the list at earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Now take a breath. Let yourself hear what I'm about to say right now. No one can heal. You cannot heal. You cannot heal unless you understand the purpose that sickness or that problem seems to serve. Because when you really understand what purpose it seems to serve, one day you'll go, you know, there's no purpose in me suffering. There's no purpose in me being sick. I don't have to go through pain to learn. I don't have to go through sickness to grow. But if I do choose to go through some form of sickness, then I know that the Holy Spirit will use that to wake you up. So if you are sick, it's your call for healing. It's your call for health. The call for health. So sickness is any form of lack of peace. It's anything that's causing you a lack of peace. It's not an accident. Sickness is not an accident. It's a plan that you lay when the truth seems to threaten what you believe. If you believe you can't be loved and the truth says you can be loved, then you will create a situation that it looks like you can't be loved to prove to yourself that you're right, that you can't be loved. That's a defense against the truth. If I tell you that you are a divine being who's beyond sickness, that you can have total health and healing, but you are in the middle of some type of sickness or unhappiness, then it's hard for you to believe that. And so there's a part of your mind that's using sickness, unhappiness, and lack to prove to you that the truth is not true, that you're not that unlimited, loving, spiritual being that you are being taught that you are. So listen very carefully. It's the quick forgetting of the part you play in making your sickness or the problem that makes it seem like it's beyond your own control. So why does it seem like that there are things that you're going through that's beyond your control? Why does it seem like you're in situation or you're in this situation or circumstance that seems to be beyond your control? I'm going to tell you why. Because you don't remember that you are the creator of every single solitary thing that you perceive and how you perceive and how you experience your experience. As long as you see yourself as a victim of your experience, that experience will continue. Because what you have forgotten, that you are not a victim, that you have the Holy Spirit, that you don't have to do this alone, that the universe is with you, that I am with you. As long as you forget that, then that will keep this situation going. But the way out is to remember what you have forgotten. That's how you have the healing. Sickness is a decision. It's not a thing that happens to you quite unsought, which makes you weak and brings you suffering. Sickness is a choice you make, a plan you lay. when for an instant truth arises in your own, when the truth arises in your mind and all your world appears to prepare to fall, all your old programming, all your old beliefs begin to fall, then there's a part of you that chooses to experience something that will try to make you doubt your path and doubt God and doubt the path that you're on right now. I'm telling you, that is so important for you to remember that you're not the victim of the world you see. You're not a victim of the world you see. You're not a victim of the world you see. You're not a victim of the world you see. Say, sickness is a defense against the truth. Sickness is a defense against the truth. What? Sickness is a defense against the truth. Lack is a defense against the truth. Say what? Lack is a defense against the truth. Say what? Anger is a defense against the truth. Insecurity is a defense against the truth. Attack is a defense against the truth. You are not a victim of the world you see. You are not a victim of the world you see. I am not a victim of the world I see. I am not a victim of the world I see. You are not a victim of the world you see. I say sickness is a defense against the truth. What? Sickness is a defense against the truth. Mighty companion, watch and listen to this at least 4 times. And would you do something for me? Would you do something for me? Would you share my videos? Would you share this video? Would you share this video? Would you share this video? It will help. Mighty companion, I appreciate you. I love you. Listen to this. Watch this at least 4 times. And we're going to continue where we left off next week. May the course be with you. I love you. You're so priceless. You are so powerful. You are so loved.